Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Dignity, Its Essential Role in Resolving Conflict by Donna Hicks, Ph.D. Narrated by Margaret Strom. Forward. I have come to appreciate Donna Hicks's excellent work in the field of human dignity and to value her friendship. I encouraged her to share her insights with a wider audience. This she has now done, and I congratulate her for bringing so clearly to the fore in this compelling book the concept of dignity, that inalienable God-given right of all humankind. This book is timely. We seem somehow to have forgotten that all beings are equal in dignity, the tenet in the first article of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The prophet in Donna Hicks brings us back to that call. She has the gift, perhaps it is her vocation, of opening to our sight a world where those most basic of human needs, appreciation, recognition, and the feeling of inherent worth, may be attained by all. Donna Hicks tells of the time when we were together in Northern Ireland, facilitating meetings between victims and perpetrators of violence in the recent unhappy conflict in that land. Day after day, we heard the retold stories of violence and anger and the aching loss of loved ones. It was almost always the loss of dignity that drove the perpetrators to the awful acts that they had committed. It was dignity regained that enabled them to face their victims, and it was dignity, the perception of worth in the other, that made reconciliation possible. I could not but reflect there on my and others' experience of apartheid in South Africa. In those dark days, it was in the consciousness of our own worth and the knowledge that right must prevail and evil be overcome that our dignity sustained us. It was our sense of dignity that brought us to democracy in peaceful transition. Dignity not only sustains but also energizes and enables. It accomplishes great things. It lifts the fallen and restores the broken. When the recognition of the good in the other is shared, it is the sense of personal dignity given that can bring peace to situations of potential conflict. People's awareness of their own dignity, their sense of worth, is the only answer to the inertia of an everyday life ruled by feelings of uselessness. How wonderful it would be if we all, every one of us, became agents of dignity, purveyors of the truth that this God-given dignity is the birthright of all. This book is no quick and easy guide to dignity. Suggestions and challenges abound, and the guidelines that will enable us to foster good relationships are clear. But far more significant than any advice given is the driving awareness that permeates this book. That in the concept of human dignity, we have in our hands, as it were, the key to the conundrum of the ages. How can peace on earth be found? Donna Hicks threads the answer clearly through her tale. God gave each of us inherent worth and value. Accept it in yourself. Discover and encourage it in others, and peace may just be possible. We all long that this may become a reality in our aching world. Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. Preface. Treat people as they want to be, and you help them become what they are capable of being. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. When I first considered writing a book about dignity, I thought it would showcase the role that dignity plays in international affairs. As a conflict resolution specialist, I have worked as a third-party facilitator in some of the world's most intractable conflicts: Israel-Palestine, Sri Lanka, Colombia, United States-Cuba, Northern Ireland, and others. One experience, early in my career, put dignity in the forefront of my consciousness. It happened in 1993 when I spent the summer in Cambodia. The United Nations Transitional Authority in Cambodia had set up shop to help develop the social, legal, and political infrastructure of the country after the genocide that had ravaged the Khmer people. I was involved with a project developed by Shulamith Koenig, founding president of the People's Movement for Human Rights Learning, that was designed to inform Khmer women of their basic human rights under the new Cambodian constitution. I learned a lot about dignity during my time there, but perhaps even more about indignity. Some of the stories I heard from the women about their experiences under the Pol Pot regime were heartbreaking. I loved introducing them to their human rights. They learned the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, proclaimed by the United Nations in 1948, and the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, inside and out. We spent a lot of time discussing the preamble of the Universal Declaration, which opens with these words: "Whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world." I remember wondering, what would it be like if our inherent dignity were recognized on a daily basis? Would it more than fulfill the principles stated in CEDAW and the Universal Declaration? What about the way we treat one another in everyday interactions? Hearing the painful stories of the Khmer women and witnessing their joy when they learned their rights under the new Cambodian constitution left an indelible impression on me. I felt the power behind deep listening and observed the powerful effects of seeing, hearing, and acknowledging others for what they had suffered. I realized that extending care and attention to those who had endured unspeakable atrocities helped them recover their sense of worth. Offering care and attention is, I now believe, at the heart of treating people with dignity. I saw that if indignity tears us apart, dignity can put us back together again. Dignity became the lens through which I made sense of the world from that point on. It is not surprising, then, that I came to understand the traumatic and emotional experiences of war as assaults on people's dignity. But what I soon discovered was that the indignities that people endured were not just those spelled out in the Universal Declaration and the other UN conventions. Other forms of dignity violations were not mentioned in those profound documents. What about the psychological ways in which people experience wounds to their dignity? What about being excluded, misunderstood, treated unfairly, dismissed, or judged as inferior on the basis of an aspect of their identity that they could do nothing about? After my work in Cambodia, I came back to Harvard University as Deputy Director of the Program on International Conflict Analysis and Resolution at the Weatherhead Center for International Affairs. There, as I continued setting up dialogues with warring parties, the issues of dignity and indignity remained alive in my mind. It never ceased to amaze me that even though the people who participated in our discussions were highly intelligent, they were ultimately unable to find a way to end the bitter struggles that were devastating their communities. Something else was going on that prevented them from resolving their differences, from putting the past to rest. As a psychologist,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?